Ah, video's running. Yeah, I just wanted to do a video to Perry. So everybody else, go away. you know, buzz off. Whatever. No. Yeah, there's just so many little things here, about this whole idea of, how we do this thing right, and just the fact that there just isn't enough conversation. And it's even like this election. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, it's like they're having the vote before the campaign trucks are even on the road, and it's and then there's this idea of you vote for more than one person, and I can only logically come up with one conclusion, that means mediocrity will win, right? I mean, because somebody will go down the list and say, oh, well, I guess that guy's okay if these other ones can't be, and everybody will put somebody on that list. There's going to be some guy everybody's going to be neutral on. They don't hate him, they don't like him, he's just mediocre, he's just, whatever, a plum pie or something. Generic dessert. Nothing exciting, nothing bold, nothing, and it'll be kind of nothing, kind of a non-entity. And I guess that's better than somebody who's going to, drive the truck off the bridge, but it might not be the best guy to, navigate the tricky road ahead either, So I mean, it's like you're giving up. It's like sometimes you have to take a risk to have any hope of catching the fish, kind of thing, or whatever the right way to put it is. You can't get there unless you're willing to risk something. You have to walk across that rickety little bridge or something to get to the gold. It's just, and there's no other way. If you're safe and say, no, I'll walk 10,000 miles all the way around, you're never going to get there. So safety is a good thing in certain circumstances, to go with the fail-safe, the best, the most solid answer. Sometimes it's right to be the turtle, and sometimes it's right to be the hare. And you gotta know which circumstances require a little bit of boldness. But that's, people can argue forever about that. I probably should turn the light on. I look kind of dark and evil. Anyway, so yeah, and I want to clarify on the banner thing. It's just not the idea of the banner. It's just, because the old one was really big too. So now they haven't made it small, which is better. But I mean, the problem I had was that it would push the screen down so low on my monitor, with the resolution I had, that I had to scroll down just to turn a video on and off. I mean, it was just that obnoxious. I mean, it corrupted the viewability of the videos, which was just, I think, idiotic. And I think, because this is a video site, videos should be as high up on the page as possible. I think you want to, it's the thing. It's the reason why we're here, is to watch these videos. We're not here to read comments or to look at banners. And banners should be over there. And if I want to go over there to look at one, then okay, fine. You want to have something over there, fine. I mean, it's like maybe just have the theme of the website. Well, I should start over here. Have something solid on one side and across the top, and have that always the same, consistent, and just have it blend across to the inconsistency where all the little noises might be over here, but they won't get in your way, and you can ignore them if you want. And that's the other thing. Like I said, there's ways to put all kinds of features on this site. It's a dead platform by itself, but there are things you can add in. We can do something about that. And it should really, realistically, there should be some discussion of that. But it's even like this voting method. If they just maybe even said, okay, let's have an ordered vote, just because that might make it more interesting. And just give everybody 10 points, and so they can give a candidate from a range of 1 to 10 points, a person, and they could split their vote between 2 people or something. Maybe that mathematically will make more sense. But I mean, the fact there was no discussion of it beforehand is kind of fail, because you really have to figure, sometimes you do something, you just don't know that it's a bad design. It's vulnerable to failure. It's got a catch in it. It's got a loophole. It's got a loose part. I don't know how to, well, you know what I'm saying, but you got that kind of brain too. It's under-engineered, and you just gotta you gotta try not to do that on purpose. I mean, who's got time to do everything perfectly? But it's, this is really shoddy. And the simple solution is just to give one man one vote and do the runoff voting thing too. I mean, that's the other option here. I mean, everybody will calculate their vote. Well, if I vote for this guy, well, enough people are going to vote for him, and I want this other guy to get in, so I better vote for him, so he's in the top 3, you know. But I mean, you know, that's the only realistically, yeah, you take the top 3 and let them have a runoff vote and see if you can get a candidate that can get 60 or 70%. But this way of doing it, I'm just figuring, like I said, it just kind of guarantees mediocrity. Neutrality, mush, dirt, brown. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get the color brown is what we're going to elect. The brownest color person. I didn't mean that, well, you know, not literally. So, what else is there to say? Yeah, I know you had some kind of stuff. Remember before you had some links to some. I mean, I'm not great at reading anything anymore. You know, if I have to read too many pages of something, fail. I just give up, as I'm just too involved in this, you know, communicating through this verbal way. I like it. I've become attached to it. And so yeah, I mean, there's probably is a lot of, I mean, I know you've gone through a lot of stuff where, you know, you've done some preliminary work, and I should pay more attention to that, so maybe I will request that you relink me to what stuff you do have available publicly. But yeah, there's just so many ways to engineer these systems, and there's just so little work being done on it at all these websites because they're doing some generic thing. And I guess I'm sort of thinking that maybe the way to start is just to try to get the platform, just get the uploader to work, get something as simple as possible, and just start with one narrow group of people that have a common interest. And then you can branch off to other groups of people that have common interest, and other groups of people that have common interest. And you know, and just build it. Each one can always retain their independence, and yet they can interact with each other, you know, in subtle ways without stepping on each other. You know, I always thought it would be so good to have a mechanism. It's like the internet itself, you know, mechanisms of accountability. You know, where like on your channel page, all your comments are viewable. So you know, you can't get away with being an asshole somewhere without somebody noticing it. And where we could rate each other, where we could pass judgment. There'd be a little survey maybe on each video, informative, too aggressive, you know, different check-offs, just little buttons we can hit, you know, a little top 10 list of things, you know, funny, blah, blah, blah. Instead of a rating system that tells you nothing, it would be a very explicit thing. And, you know, maybe not have our ratings show for particular videos, but our overall ratings, how we rate videos, might be a good thing. I was also thinking that maybe the way to do this thing too with comments, you know, is to have some pre-written comments. You know, just standard like good video kind of nonsense instead of people typing that crap. Or just saying it in some little subtle, unique way, adding a little extra smiley or something. I mean, you know, whatever. But you know, this whole idea of accountability, open source, you know, make it all so people just can't get away with being complete assholes, and where we can call each other assholes in subtle ways. You know, where I can say asshole, but you know, the other person doesn't have to hear me say it. You know, I don't have to say it to Frank's face. Whoops. No, you know what I mean. You know, where we could say asshole to each other once in a while without getting personal. But there would also be known, because there would be a register of how many people we've called asshole. Not who we called an asshole, but how many we called asshole. And there'd be like a real incentive to encourage people to keep the carrots more dominant than the sticks. So I guess when I'm talking about the comments, maybe there should be some kind of rule like, if you have nothing good to say, you don't say anything at all. Okay? Bingo. You know, if you can't, you know, try to create a mechanism built into the community where you only do the encouraging thing, and so people will get the idea. They will be discouraged by the fact that they will not be getting encouraged. The community will not be feeding them, and therefore they will die of starvation. They won't die of having to be beaten with a stick and told you're an asshole and this is why you're an asshole and you shouldn't have said that and that was rude and that was. And let's just cut that crap out, and then we'll just, you know, reward people for when they do the right thing, and instead of try to beat them up when they do the wrong thing, because that's what really creates the real hostility is when we start doing that direct finger pointy thing and that ridicule. Well, I can't say ridicule is the wrong word, because I think it's got to be in the videos. I mean, there's got to be a right in videos to, you got to have the freedom to speak your mind. But the community should let you know in this kind of subtle way when they as a mass think you've gone too far, because you're not going to be getting any carrots for that behavior. And that video is not going to get rewarded, or else it's going to be labeled with some kind of label that says rude or whatever. This, like I said, we can go on forever and ever, but this is the conversation that really has to take place. And then you have to get some people in place. There has to be people who can actually do something. Something to help build it. So you got to get the people who can do the programming and the rest of the stuff. I can do some of that stuff, but it's got to be people. There's got to be people that can give the time, and who wants to invest in something. Like, that's where it gets tricky for me. I just can't get passionate about, building something that's got somebody else's name is on it. That's just, I don't see my incentive there. And not that I have to have an incentive. I should be able to give something away, but I do that all the time, and I'm sort of in that situation right now. This weekend I got to do work for a company. They don't even pay me. It's just a joke. I'm volunteering for a corporation. What sense does that make? But you get into this situation, and it's where you have to nag them so much for them to do the right thing that you just say, who the hell cares? It's less trouble to just say okay and let them screw you than it is to sit there and try to stop them. But anyway, that's a whole different subject. So I don't know, I think I probably covered enough. No point in going on and on. But yeah, I really like when you make videos. You're a sensible sort of person. You make a good vlog, and it's this is there's everything in the universe deserves a little more attention. The world isn't. There's not enough people talking about that either. There's not enough people talking about anything. And I guess this is just another place where the symptom is there. The cartoons are everywhere, and the TV's playing, but there's nobody home. Nothing real is getting done. Yeah, so that's probably enough. I don't have to qualify anything. Yeah. Oh yes, if you elect me king, I know. Yeah, just throw it in there at the end. See, that's the other thing. People should have endorsed certain, there should have been like a constitution, at least the 10 items, let's say, that people could endorse or say, yes, I go with those 10 principles. The idea that there would be, like if your approval rating drops a certain way, there could be a new election in 2 weeks or whatever. This idea that we can get out of, what the future would look like in terms of this mechanism. Because, if people don't like what you're doing, they should be able to get you the hell out. Go with choice number 2, or choice number 3, or choice number 4. Yeah. So is that it? Yeah, that's probably enough of a video. So anyway, thanks for the conversation. And